Salesforce Certification by Intellipaat.
But before we begin the session, make sure to subscribe to our channel and also hit on the bell icon so that you will never miss an update from us.
CRM is considered to be the most efficient technique to create relationship among customers. It can be used to target contacts, leads and opportunities. Salesforce CRM has been number one CRM for 5 years in a row now. It's been used by many companies from mid-size to Fortune 500 companies. If you wish to learn and succeed in your Salesforce career, then one has to clear certification exams. Therefore, we have come up with this video on Salesforce certification path where you will get all the details about the certification provided by Salesforce along with certification cost, exam duration, Salesforce interview questions and much more interesting topics. On saying that, let's see the agenda of the day. Firstly, we will begin with Introduction to Salesforce. Post that, we will be learning about Salesforce Architecture and API. After that, we will tell you the difference between traditional CRM and Salesforce CRM. After that, we will tell you how to create Salesforce Developer Account. Post that, we will be learning about Salesforce Tools for automation, followed by a hands-on demo on how to create workflow rules. Then we'll give you all the information about Salesforce Admin and Developer Certification. Post that, we will tell you how to become a Salesforce developer, what are the career, job and salary prospects of a Salesforce professional. Then finally, we have covered Salesforce interview questions and answers as well. On saying that, let's begin the session.
So, why Salesforce is the question? Why do you think Salesforce is important? So, let's see how. So, let's talk about the traditional system for building an app. Okay. So, if an idea came into some developer's account, that idea to get implemented needs to take the following steps. You need to buy and set up the hardware. Then, you need to install a particular software. You also need to define user access. Then, analytics need to be set up. Then if you want your app to be secure, security needed to be done. Then you need to make your app mobile and social. Only then your app would be built. But after that also you need to deploy your app. So this whole process of building an app or an application used to take around an year or less than an year. But that is a huge process, very long process. How Salesforce shortened it is in this way. If an idea came up in a developer's mind, they can directly head over to Salesforce and they can build an app because Salesforce is a full package of all the infrastructural parts. You just need to go there and build the app with a few clicks, drag and drop options. Also, there are Apex class options. You do that. After that, your app would be deployed on Salesforce. It's that simple. And this particular process would take you less than 2 or 3 months. It is that simple, or even a few weeks. And if the application is small, it could be made in a few days as well. So this is why Salesforce is very good as a PaaS company. So you're actually making your own application on the platform given to you by Salesforce, right? Now let's talk about why else do we need Salesforce. So I told you it's very quick. Right. So the traditional CRM software used to take a very long time to deploy. But you saw how Salesforce application could be built in just a jiffy. We'll be building an application in Salesforce towards the end of this video. You'll see how quickly we can build an application. Also, it is very easy to make. So Salesforce actually wins in the easy to use category. You can spend more time putting it to use and less time figuring it out. Also, it is very effective because it is very easy to use and it can be customized to meet business needs. Customers find Salesforce very effective, right? So let's talk about the Salesforce architecture. Like if so much happens in Salesforce, then we need to learn how that happens in the backend, right? We should at least know what is happening in the backend. How is the Salesforce architecture so robust? So for that, let's talk about Salesforce architecture. So this core architecture of Salesforce has 3 components towards it. The first one is the multi-tenant architecture. Second one is the metadata architecture. And thirdly, APIs. We'll talk about each one of these. Let's talk about multi-tenant architecture. So from the image, you can see that a particular application of software is divided amongst 3 clients. So what that actually does is it cuts down the developer's time, and it is very economical for the clients as well. So basically, if you're a developer, you are creating an application or a software for several clients at a time. You're uploading it onto the Salesforce platform, and then you're distributing it to several clients at a single point of time, right? So all the data is stored in a single database, right? It is very easy for you to access it. It is again very economical because you're creating it only once and you're segregating it, or you're distributing it among many clients at once. So it's very economical for your clients. Also, a single instance of a software server is distributed with multiple tenants, right? Also, a provider can update a single application and the changes will be made in other applications as well. So the maintenance is very easy and it can be updated very quickly as well, right? Because Salesforce has a multi-tenant architecture, it follows multi-tenancy. Many people choose Salesforce only for this reason. Next, we have metadata. In metadata, Salesforce allows this concept of metadata architecture. Basically means data above data. And since all the data is stored in a common database, metadata points to one particular client's database. So what does that mean? So first of all, developers need to concentrate only on building an application. Also, the functionalities of an application are defined as metadata in a database. And this actually increases the productivity of the developer. Okay, so let's consider 3 clients that are A, B and C, which are sharing a single database. So each client has an access to their own metadata from the shared data. So each client will have a separate metadata. This will ensure that you don't get into metadata from the shared data or someone else's data. This also will increase the security of the shared database. Developers just need to create the application and deliver the application to the respective client metadata. So basically, the issue of data security and data integrity gets sorted with this particular architecture. Since all the data is stored on different levels, that is data above data. So this is metadata architecture. But if we talk about APIs, Salesforce provides powerful source of APIs. These APIs help in the development and customization of Salesforce mobile application. Their purpose is to let you manipulate your Salesforce data, whereas other APIs let you do things like customize page layouts or build custom development tools. Putting it simply, API is a way for a client to be able to interact with the server and exchange the data. APIs are very simple. Typical issues of APIs include creating, reading, updating, and deleting of data on a server, or in case of Salesforce, object and record you have on Sales Cloud. Salesforce takes API first approach to build features on Salesforce platform. So this is the whole architecture which Salesforce follows, and it is actually a very robust architecture. Now let's talk about how Salesforce started off. But before that, we look at the use cases which are available in Salesforce. So as a community forum for interactions among employees, partners, and customers. So basically, the app is set up as a forum for your customers, your partners, and the employees to collaborate, chat, share information, your documents, and pictures. It actually helps foster greater engagement with your company and its brand. The focus is on the seamless exchange of knowledge, ideas, and clarification, that is question and answers. It can be monitored and facilitated by a formal community manager, which is appointed by your organization to drive the right message across the various communication channels that are available to your employees, partners, and customers. Also, as an alternative to applications on the Salesforce.com platform, that is to automate key business process directly in Salesforce communities. The app is a comprehensive automation solution for your entire business process. For example, it is possible to enable partner relationship management processes like partner onboarding, lead distribution or management, market development funds, and so on. Depending on the complexity and uniqueness of the process being automated, there are app exchange processes, such as Salesforce Labs as well as third-party apps. And these can be integrated to enhance and enrich the overall solution. Another use case of Salesforce will include to automate business processes supported on the back end of solutions on the Force.com platform. The app is a web portal to engage your customers and partners for specific business processes that are enabled partially on the app and partially in the backend. That is on the Force.com platform. With self-service, a primary driver, the user interface can have a custom look and feel that is unique to your brand. Also, it enables you to expose only a subset of the Salesforce objects that are relevant to the respective business processes which are being automated. So I'll walk you through the 4 types of primary editions which are there in Salesforce. So the first one is the Essentials edition, which is for $25 and is basically for small businesses or individual people. It is for $25 and it is built annually. Next we have the Professionals edition, which is actually a level up edition from the Essentials one. It is meant to be a standalone account contact management system. You can also track deals through opportunities as well as a product. But there are no option for integration and there is no automation available. Of course, the benefit is that it is $75 per month. Next is the Enterprise edition, which is by far the most popular edition of Salesforce. It also allows workflow rules to be sent out and it provides automated notifications as well. It basically has nicely automated tools. The security is also robust in this particular edition. You can actually build out application on your own and most customers end up moving for this edition. This edition is deeply customizable Sales CRM for businesses and it is for $150 per month. Going a little higher, it is Unlimited edition. It offers higher limits, that is multiple sandboxes, additional data storage, but not many Salesforce customers end up buying this edition. So as an administrator, you'll have full copy of sandbox in this particular edition. You'll also have all the particular sandboxes that you want in your edition. You can make more customization, more tabs, additional data storage as well. Let's now talk about the products and services which are available in Salesforce. The Market Cloud, the Collaboration Cloud, Analytics Cloud, and the Commerce Cloud. We'll talk about each one of these in the following slides. So first of all, we have the Sales Cloud. Sales Cloud is the most popular and the most trusted cloud service which is literally offered by Salesforce. It is very useful for companies which require a lot of follow-ups with respect to leads and customers. It makes the work of a sales representative very easy as Sales Cloud gives him a very consolidated view of all the customers. All the data can be stored in a single window with all the required details. With just a single click, the details of a customer can be viewed, edited, or deleted. Sales Cloud is basically focused on enhancing the effectiveness of the sales team of an organization and hence increase the amount of sales. Next, we'll be talking about the Service Cloud. So this cloud is used by the customer support team. It helps a company service its customer better in a more optimized way. You can also use Service Cloud to track the performance of your service agents. It is more focused in providing support and help to the customers. Next, we're going to talk about the Commerce Cloud. The Commerce Cloud basically connects the customers or the shoppers with the right product at the right time. It is used for connecting merchandisers with the right information and to track your leads. Next, we'll be talking about the Marketing Cloud. The Marketing Cloud, again, can be used to perform digital marketing activities. All the marketing people out there, you can use this cloud to achieve any automated marketing strategy, such as sending an email or targeting customers, etc. It is focused on digital marketing automation and analytics software and services. We'll now be talking about the Collaboration Cloud, which is Quip. It is basically used to create, edit, discuss, and organize your team's work in one single place. And this is done by team works together, be it combining the data, documents, spreadsheets, and like whatnot. It is basically used to connect your content and communicate with your team. The next is the analytics cloud, and the analytics cloud is basically based on the data analytics and business intelligence, and the reports are generated via this cloud. You can get the data from all these clouds and give an analysis of what the problem was with the outcome. All kind of analytics can be performed in this particular cloud. Next is the community cloud, and it is a social platform that is designed to connect and facilitate communication among an organization's employees, partners, and customers. It is a more focused, automated way of communication amongst your customers or with the support team. So these are all the products and services which Salesforce provides. Let's talk about Salesforce CRM now. But before that, we'll talk about CRM. Like, what is CRM? CRM, or Customer Relationship Management Platform, is a model basically used to manage interactions like phone calls, meetings, emails, and social media of actually any organization with customers and prospects, penetrating to marketing, support, and sales. CRM is basically a strategy for managing an organization's relationships and interactions with customers and potential customers. It helps companies stay connected to customers, streamline processes, and improve the profitability. The major goal of a CRM system is actually very simple: to improve business relationships. It also involves analyzing customer interactions through the customer lifecycle. CRM is focused on enhancing customer service, improving business relationships, profitability, aiding in customer retention, and driving sales growth. But what does CRM do? CRM intelligently captures customer emails. How? Whenever a customer sends an email to the organization, that particular email would be, according to the category, would be segregated. Secondly, the CRM will simplify repetitive tasks so that you can concentrate only on leads. So if you're having same tasks, you can actually concentrate on a particular lead which is important for you instead of getting through all those tasks. Thirdly, CRM delivers instant insights and recommendations. So whichever customer may become a lead for you, that particular customer will come up on your recommendations list. Also, CRM actively tracks and manages customer information. So whatever the customer information is, all that information would be available to you on a particular dashboard so that you can look through that particular customer's information and make further decisions. Next is that it connects your entire team. So your whole team will know at just a single glance in a dashboard who is doing what work, who is handling which lead. So that particular team can actually work more effectively. Next is that it extends and customizes as your business grows. So all the graph can be made so that you understand how your leads are going. So that is what an actual CRM does. But what is Salesforce CRM is the question. So Salesforce CRM is a cloud-based CRM platform. So what an actual CRM used to do? The same work Salesforce CRM does, but it is cloud-based. So it can be accessed from anywhere with just an internet connection. And it is not that it's just desktop based or laptop. It can be opened in laptop. Your Salesforce CRM can be logged in via your mobile phone as well, or anywhere with an internet connection. So the Salesforce CRM is used to actually supercharge every part of the company, be it marketing, sales, commerce, building apps and services. Because Salesforce CRM is the first product which Salesforce created, it is actually the number one CRM in the world. Also, the Salesforce CRM revolutionized the IT industry by introducing companies with cloud-based CRM, which is very easy to use and it is user-friendly as well. Salesforce actually gets most of its revenue from customer relationship management or CRM. Right. So isn't Salesforce CRM so amazing? We'll talk about that later. Then we have, why does CRM matter? Yeah, I know you might be having a question like that. Because Salesforce CRM helps you ditch clunky processes and the manual effort so that you can get onto with business. So all the spreadsheets, Excels, anything that you're working on, your documents, all of that can be ditched out and you can actually work on your business and you can follow your leads. Also, the more you'll find your leads, the more you follow your leads, the more you'll close your deals and you will keep your customers to grow your business. And also the Salesforce CRM is actually one single place to store all your customer information, which actually means all the conversation, data, everything about that customer would be stored in one particular place. You don't need to look for that particular users or the customers' information. So if you just search the name of that particular customer, icon will come up, you'll click on that and that's it. All the information about that customer would be there. Even what you talk to that particular person on the phone call. Also, the Salesforce CRM customers say that 37% of sales revenue have increased when they use Salesforce. They also say that 45% higher customer satisfaction has been observed. Also, 43% marketing ROI is observed as well. That is why CRM matters. And that is why all the companies are looking for better CRM from day to day. So let's look at the difference between the traditional CRM and the Salesforce CRM so that you understand why Salesforce CRM is better than traditional CRM. So first of all, obviously, the traditional CRM is hosted on a company's own server. So as I said, traditional CRM is hosted on company's server means that it is infrastructure based. It is very difficult to understand and use by any other person who is entering the company. If you are a developer, you're entering a company, or if you're a sales manager yourself, you're entering a company, it would take you a really long time to understand how to use that particular CRM. Also, it would actually take months and even years to set that CRM up. And it is definitely not economical. It is very costly. In the Salesforce CRM, otherwise, the CRM is hosted on the cloud. That is a major advantage of Salesforce CRM. It is easy to understand and use because it has such a nice UI. Also, it can be set up within a few weeks or even a few days. And obviously, the overall cost would be very lesser and it is very economical to use. So that is why Salesforce CRM is definitely considered as the best CRM. So, but why is Salesforce gaining so much popularity? Why is that? First of all, scalability and customization. When companies are implementing CRM, they're not thinking about the present, but they're actually making sure that 3 to 4 years down the line, will the particular CRM they're buying today will help the company or not. Salesforce scalability and customization makes it easy for the companies to choose this platform, as it actually gives them an assurance that CRM will meet their business needs 3 to 4 years down the line.
Alright guys, now let's take a look at a few quiz questions and try and test our understanding of the subject. In Salesforce, can multiple users have the same profile? The answer can either be true or false. So can we assign the same profile to multiple users in our Salesforce application? So take a few moments and try and figure out whether or not the answer is true or false. If it is true or if it is false, take a look at the question, try and understand what the question is trying to ask.
Also, the Salesforce CRM provides the multi-tenant architecture. Salesforce is a multi-tenant CRM, which means that every customer has the same infrastructure and platform, despite the size or type of their purchase plan. Customers don't need to worry about any updates. As we learned earlier, multi-tenancy makes maintenance very easy without customer intervention. Also, data security. In today's world, every company, every individual is looking for data security, and Salesforce provides that. To provide the security model which satisfies numerous real-world business cases, Salesforce provides 3 very comprehensive and flexible data security models to secure the data at different levels. That is object level, field level, and record level security. Another thing is maintenance. Maintenance can be done very easily in Salesforce by the Salesforce Developers team. So Salesforce provides regular updates and maintenance for sustaining the security, availability, and performance of the infrastructure, which they are supporting Salesforce services. Before the maintenance is scheduled, all the customers are pre-informed about the date and time of the maintenance window. So that is very easy for the users of Salesforce to plan their work ahead. And these are the major reasons why Salesforce is gaining so much popularity. So now we'll create a Salesforce Developers Account. Before we talk about the components which are present in Salesforce, let's first create the Salesforce Developers Account. So to create a Salesforce Developers Account, you need to visit the website developer.salesforce.com. So this is the actual interface which you'll see when you enter developer.salesforce.com. You'll click on Sign Me Up, which is an option over here. And after hitting Sign Me Up, you'll see a form, a sign up form basically. And this is a free developer's account. You don't need to enter your debit card number or credit card number or any account details. So this is the form. You'll need to enter your name, your email ID, your job role, company name, country, postal code, and your username. When you enter your username, Salesforce wants you to enter your username in the form of an email ID. So that would be, for example, your name at Intellipaat.com or any company for that matter, like that, and then you'll click on Sign Me Up. Now one thing you'll be noticing over here is that in this whole form you never entered your password. You didn't set up your password, right? So to do that, Salesforce will send an email on your email ID from where you can actually change your or reset your password. So when you have changed your password, this is a mandatory task. When you have changed your password, you'll take that password and your username which you entered over here, and then you'll log into your Salesforce account. You'll go to salesforce.com for that, and then click on login over here. You'll enter username which you had filled up in the form and your password as well, and you'll click on login. When you log in, this is the actual page that you're going to see. There's several things over here, so let's just move on to our slides and talk about all of this later. So let's talk about the homepage customizations that we have in Salesforce. This is the actual Salesforce image that I have taken from the Salesforce website. Okay, so what are the features of the homepage that we have in Salesforce? So first of all, it is the starting point for all Salesforce users. So basically this particular page that you're seeing over here is the starting point. Whenever anyone enters into this website or logs in, they'll see this particular homepage and this particular thing. Next is it is used to manage open and incomplete tasks. Yes, that is true. We'll see that in just a minute. It will also help in viewing the upcoming events on your particular screen on the homepage itself. And the dashboard snapshots are also available over there, and you can view them as well. So let's see how our homepage looks like. So let's take a little tour of this particular homepage that we have. These are the little tools that you can see from Salesforce only. You can click on anyone you want and get started. On the left hand side, you'll see a menu, which is the most useful menu in the Salesforce website or the homepage. Well, according to me, you'll see setup home. This is the home page that you're seeing. Okay. Then over here, you have the most recently used items. So these are the various items that you have with the name, the type, and the object. That can be seen over here. On the top, you'll see this particular checkboard kind of a button. You'll click on that. This is the app launcher. From here, you can launch the various tools and products that we learned in our previous slides. Okay, so let me go back. This is the home. This is the object manager. We have all the objects that we have or records that we have are over here. I don't have many of them. Whenever you need to create a user, multiple user, or custom object, custom tab, email template, workflow process, or anything like that, you can directly click on create and then create any of these. We'll talk about each one of these in our next slides. Then we have this menu. Let's go back to this menu. Now Salesforce has very nicely segregated all three types of the tools that we have over here. So first of all, we have the administration tool, in which basically the admins will only work. We have users, data, and email. So the admins can actually enter users' data. They can look at the data components for that, and email if you need to send an email or something if you're an admin for that. Then we have the platform tools over here. There are several platform tools over here. We'll be talking about some of them over from this particular menu. So let's now create a user in Salesforce. So let's see the user management that we have in Salesforce, but there are a few points that you must remember when you're managing or creating a user. So first of all, the usernames must be unique and in an email format. We just created a Salesforce Developers Account right now, right? So the usernames you saw were in an email ID format. The same is with the users that we're creating in Salesforce. They need to be in an email ID format. Also, the users must be assigned an active license. Otherwise, Salesforce won't allow those particular users to work. Also, users must be assigned a profile. We'll see how we create a user and you need to assign a profile to them. You know how licenses work in a pooled format? So for example, if you buy 10 licenses at one go and 10 people are accessing that particular license at a given point of time, any person who leaves or isn't using a particular license, another person can use a freed up license. So basically you need to reassign user licenses so that every user of your company or your institute or your firm can work. So let's go ahead and create a user account, or let's create a user in Salesforce. Okay, so now I'm logged into my Salesforce account. I'll click on this setup button, this gear button on the right hand side top. I'll click on setup. A new tab opens when I click on setup. Now the first section that I have over here is administration. I click under that users and then I'll find users in that, which is the last option over here. So this shows the admin users that I have over here. There's only one admin user that I have. I can change the user views. So I can have active users. There are 5 active users over here. And then I can choose all users. All right. So let's start making a new user. Let's create a new user. So this is a format for filling up your or creating a new user if you're an admin. So let's ignore the first name. And so one thing is that these red bars that we have over here are the required information bars. So since there's no one on first name, we'll ignore that. We'll go ahead to last name. Let's put the last name as Intelli, and the alias come up on itself. You can change that to anything that you want. Okay. The email ID, you can put any email ID you want. Let's put some email ID over here, Intellipaat at gmail2.com or anything, actually any email ID. Now one thing you'll notice is as soon as I entered with my email ID, username also came up. I can either have the same username or I can have a different username. I can edit that as well to 1 2 3 4 whatever. Another thing which is noticeable is that the characters which are taken before the @ symbol are taken to be as nickname. Next, when you move towards the right hand side, there's role. You can choose the role of your user, whichever role or team that person is in. Let's select that to be channel sales team. Next, we have the user license. User license can be charter external, charter free. Let's have charter external for that. The profile also comes according to your user license. Now we'll scroll down. We need our user to view the quick access menu or accessibility mode classic only. We can have that for a user as well. That actually depends on you. These are all radio buttons, so only one of them can be chosen. Now we'll go back down and we have approver settings, we have local settings. So this last checkbox that we have over here that I just highlighted, this is generate new password and notify user automatically or immediately. If you uncheck this checkbox, what will happen is that whenever a new password is set, the user won't be notified or an email won't be sent. But if you want the user to know every time the password is changed, you can go ahead and click on this checkbox. Now we're done with creating a user. Let's go and click on save. Okay, so this is the information about the user. We have created the user. We can go back and edit anything that we want from this user. We can change the email ID, username, anything we want. Another thing is that there's this active button over here. This is a checkbox actually. So in this thing, if you have it unchecked, what will happen is that you will deactivate the user. So just in case something happens that the user is not right, or there's some case going on, for example, you can go ahead and deactivate the user so that the particular user doesn't use the Salesforce account. So the Salesforce will give you a prompt. I'll just go ahead and click on OK, and the user won't be active. But if you want the user to be active, something happens back, he's proved right, you'll go ahead and click on active and then click on save. All right. So another thing you can do is you can freeze the user. What freezing the user will do is that the user won't be deactivated, but the user won't be active. So the user won't be able to enter into the Salesforce account if you freeze the user. So I'll just go ahead and unfreeze that right now. Okay, so that is about the users. There are a few settings over here which you can add your team. You can have a whole list of users in a particular team, third-party account links, apps. We had all these options in the previous window that I showed you. Okay, so let's now go back to users over here that we have. Let's click back. Okay, so we'll create a new view now. Okay, so let's now talk about the views which are available in Salesforce. You can create a view to see a specific set of contacts, documents, or other object records. You can create a list view of accounts in your state, leads with a specific lead source, or opportunities with a particular amount. You can also create views of contacts, leads, user, or cases to use for mass email recipient lists. Let's now go ahead and create a view in Salesforce. So this is my home page of Salesforce. I'll go ahead and click on users over here, and I'll click on users over here. Then I'll find a button over here which says create new view. I have a set of users in the system, and I can also create a new view over here and see all the admin users. So let's do that. So I'll just give the view name as admin, and the unique name will come up on it automatically. I can actually create a list view of different users in the system. It is useful for the companies having quite a few users. So let's just select the filter field as first name, or let's select this. Let's select it as profile if I want to do that, and then we'll have the operator as contains, and the value we can have it as admin. We'll have the profile of admin users over here. So we'll just go ahead and save. So this is the user which is a system administrator. The admin profile user came up. So this is what views I used for in Salesforce. Okay, so now we'll be customizing and creating tabs in Salesforce. So there are a few pointers that I want you as an admin to remember. So the first thing is that the tabs can be added or removed by individual users. So you need to make sure that the user access is clearly given. Secondly, the web tabs can also be added to access commonly requested sites. Thirdly, the tabs can be created to display visual force pages. So among so many features and points about tabs, these three are the important ones. So let's just go ahead and create tabs in Salesforce. This is the home page for Sales Cloud. There are these tabs I have over here. These are the tabs. Tabs are basically just for quick access and for accessibility for the administrator or the user. Being in a sales team, if you want to access something very quickly, you can directly have that particular item or that tab in this particular item, an object, or any query, leads, accounts. You can put them into tab, and it would be directly accessible for you. So you can just go ahead and click on accounts. For example, you can create new account directly from that. You can view all accounts, you can view my accounts. So everything for that matter can be accessed from here. So we'll just go ahead and create a new tab in Salesforce. We'll click on this checkerboard kind of a icon, and this is where I open the Sales Cloud from. I'll go back. I'll click on this gear button, click on setup, and I'll be taken to a new tab. Here on the right hand side I have a create menu. I'll click on that and click on custom tab. So I have my custom object tab open over here, but I need to create an object first. Why is that? Because here is the object option where I need to choose an object which I created and an object which doesn't have a respective tab associated to it. So I'll go ahead and create an object first, and then I'll associate that particular object to the tab. Okay, so let's now create an object in the name of bank. Label is actually the name which would be shown. The plural generally comes on its own, but we'll just write it down here as it didn't come. The object name came up the same, which is bank. The record name also came up the same, which is bank. The data type, you can choose between text and auto number. I have just chosen text over here. Then these are the optional features. If you want the reports, if you want to allow activities, if you want to track field history, if you want to allow in chatter groups. So I won't select any of these. Then directly I'll jump on and save this object.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Salesforce online training mentored by industry experts. The course link is given in the description below. Now, let's continue with the session.
So my object is created. So let's go back and create a tab for this. We'll go home, create custom tab, and then we'll have an object that we just created as bank. Now here you can choose whichever image or color that you want. So since I have my object as bank, so I'll click on bank over here, and then I'll click on next. Now for this custom object, I want everything to be default. Just to give you a little vague idea about the whole thing. For this, this is choose the custom apps for which the new custom tab will be available. So I want it to be available for every app, and we'll see that in each of these apps or some of these apps. So I'll click on save. You can actually select this to be only on Sales Cloud or Sales app. So yeah, our tab is created. Let's just go back and let's open Sales app only. And over here, we'll see banks, which is the tab that we just created. All of these are the tabs. Since there was no space to accommodate each one of them, they just have this drop down menu and have the other apps over here. So I'll click on banks over here. This is the object which has been created for the particular tab, and whichever record I want to enter into it can be viewed over here. Okay, creating email templates. So let's look at the features of email templates first. Visual Force email template for advanced logic and merging can be created via these email templates. We'll be creating an email template. Also, email templates can be used for sending one-time and mass emails. You can use plain text version for minimal formatting. You can also use HTML version for graphical look and feel, and we'll see all of these when we move towards our hands-on. So let's create email templates now. I'm logged into my Salesforce developer account, and we have it over here, and we'll click on classic email templates. Since we want to create a new template, we'll click on new template, and here are the options that you have to choose the type. As we talked earlier, that it can be in the plain text version, in the HTML version for graphical look and feel, that, and then we have custom version as well, which is without the classic letterhead, and then we also have Visual Force email template over here. Let's just go ahead and use the text one. I'm just gonna choose this as text, but you can choose from a variety of different types of templates like this, and we'll click on next over here. Okay, so since we're creating a new template, we want to select the field types. So we'll just leave this to contact fields. We'll select the field as email, and that will come up as contact email. Where do we want this particular email template to be saved? I'm just gonna make it as my personal email templates. Now we have email template name. Let's name this as custom mail. Then we have subject. You can enter your subject like sending an email notification, and then is the email body. The email body can be customized for each particular email. So we're gonna have hi, hope you're doing good. And then we'll have some line after that over here, which we'll customize for each and every person. And then we'll have thanks, and then we will save this. So my email template is created, and I can go back to the list, and you can see I have. So one thing that you need to do is that we'll edit this, and we'll make this available for use. Otherwise, we won't be able to use it. We'll click on save and we'll go back to the list. Okay, and then you can also add attachments to it if you want to. You can select the file, click on the attach button and click done button to return to the previous page. You can attach the file as well, and you can also edit the merge field. Okay, so now we're gonna send, test and verify merge. So this is the preview template which can be sent to the records. So for example, if we have a recipient record, we can click on user. This is the user, and related to record, we're gonna have order, and here we're gonna have, okay, so we don't have any order name. Let's select account. We're gonna have account name and send the preview to this particular email ID and click on OK. So since we are done creating our email template and attaching a file, sending the email and checking whether it's fine or not, now we'll go back to the list. And you can see that here are all the email alerts that we have. We're going to click on classic email templates. And here in this particular folder which says my personal email templates, I have my email template as custom email. Now if I go to my unified public classic email templates, here are all the email templates except mine, because I saved my particular email template in my personal email templates, right? So we are done creating email templates. Let's move further. Now, since we have created email templates, you can send individual emails to your customers. And here are a few points that I wanted to tell you guys. So you can select from pre-existing templates. You have to add a CC, BCC or additional to it. You need to attach files from your computer or documents. You can send it in text or HTML format, whichever is comfortable for you. Also, you can view a history of sent emails on contacts and leads. So all these points are something which are important for you to remember if you're sending an individual email. So now we'll be creating an app in Salesforce. There are a few points that I want you to remember. Number one is that your app should be able to access all the features which are there in Salesforce. Also, your tabs in the app must be in an organized and logical manner. And obviously, it should be a customizable application that you're creating on Salesforce. Let's create an app in Salesforce Lightning, but there's a use case that I want to tell you according to which we're going to create our app. What we're going to do is, imagine that you have a travel company and you want to track the mileage of each car. For example, there's some car 1 and you want to track the mileage of that car. So you'll put a formula as the end mileage minus the start mileage. And then your actual mileage will come and you want to bill the customer according to that particular mileage. Okay, so let's build an app according to that. So here I am in my Salesforce setup menu. So if you are in your home page, you can directly click on this gear button and click on setup and you'll be taken to this particular page. Now I'll go ahead and create an object first because I want to create the app right from the sketch so that you understand everything about it. So let's scroll down over here on the left menu. There is an option called Platform Tools and you want to go down. The fourth option is Objects and Fields. Click on that. And then the first option over there is Object Manager. You'll double click on that. Now you'll be taken to this particular page. It has all the objects that are there in my Salesforce account. But I want to create a new one, right? So I'll find this particular option which is on the right hand side which says Create, and it is a Create menu, and I'll click on Custom Object. Okay, so since you want to create a new object, we're gonna make a new object from here. Let's name the label as distance, and then the plural form is distances, which generally comes up on its own, but it didn't here. Now over here you can see that the object name is automatically filled in this particular text box, which is distance1, which is actually distance. Then the record name is distance name. In the data type you can see that it is text, but we want it to be auto number, and we want this to be in curly braces with 4 zeros. Then we have the starting number. Let's enter the starting number as 0869879. And then we have the optional features. When you scroll down over here, we have 4 options over here. Allow reports, which actually allows the reports for each trip or each distance. We're gonna select that. When we have allow activities checkbox, we're gonna select that as well because we want to have all the activities available. Then we have track field history. Yes, we want that as well because we are looking for a proper quarterly performance of our application and our business. Next, we have allow in chatter groups. No, we don't want that to be there, but you can actually go ahead and check that as well, but I won't. Now, if you go down, there is a menu which says search status. And what it basically does is that if a user wants to search a particular record with this object type, they can search it. So I'll just check this and say allow search. All right. When that is done, we're gonna save this and our object is created. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna scroll down over here and we have fields and relationships over here. Now it has, let me show you this. The field name shows created by ID. The data type is lookup user. The distance name, which is the field label, is name and which is auto number. And then so now one thing I'm going to show you is the page layouts. Okay, so the distance layout was made by this particular person and was modified over here. Okay, then we have record types. We don't have any records. You can see that. We'll come back to this and I'll show you the records over here. Okay, when that is done, we'll go back to home and in the quick find, we'll write tabs over here. You want to click on that. Now, these are the tabs that I have available over here. These are all the custom tabs. Now, I'll click on new because I want to create a new custom app. Now, the object I want to select is distance because that particular object doesn't have a tab related to it. Now for the tab style, I'll go ahead and choose a tab from here. Let's go ahead and choose. Okay, and we're gonna click on next. Now we have a few default values over here. For now, we're just gonna say next. Here also we have, we want it available to all the custom apps. So we're gonna click on save. Distances custom tab is created. Now we'll create fields for this. We'll go to fields, click on distances, and this is our custom tab. Let's go to objects and fields, object manager, distances, and fields and relationships right there. And click on new. Okay. Now fields are basically the kind of or the type of data type that you want in particular app. Okay, so the first thing we're going to choose is date because that is date and time actually because that is what we track of. Since our company needs to keep track of the trips that are going to happen at a particular distance for a particular distance, we want to keep track of the date and time for a particular date, so and so distance was traveled like that. Right, so I'll click on date and time and click on next. Now I'm going to name this as date and then the field name comes up on its own.
Which of the following is not a type of sandboxes available in Salesforce? So as we all know, the Salesforce comes with different kinds of sandboxes. Which of the following is not a kind of a sandbox that is available in Salesforce? Is it A, developer, B, manager, C, partial copy, or D, full? Take a moment, take a look at the question and think about what the answer should be.
Okay, so now when we're done with that, we're gonna click on this show formula editor and we're gonna write today because we want date for today. We're gonna start it from today and check syntax. Scroll down, there are no syntax errors and we're gonna click on next. Now we're gonna go down, click on next and this is distance layout and then save a new. Okay, so a new field is created. We want that to be the number data type. Click on next. And this is for the starting mileage. So we're going to give this as starting mileage. Then the length, we can set it to 18. And decimal places, let's set that to 2. Till 2 decimal places, we'll get that. And then we're going to go next. Set that 7. And click on next. After that, we're going to let everything be default. Click on next. When that is done, we have added this to the page layout name, and then we're gonna save a new. Now we want another number for the ending mileage, and the length as well is set to 7 and the decimal places are 2, and next. And we have saved that to page layout name. And when we are done with that, go ahead and save this. Now we'll add the formula for finding out the mileage. Okay, so we'll subtract the ending mileage to the starting mileage to calculate the total mileage of the particular trip. Okay, so we'll again create a new field and we'll select this as formula. Yeah, there, formula. Click on next, and we want to name this field label as distance traveled. And for the formula return type, we're gonna put this as number, and decimal places we're gonna have 2 decimal places. Click on next, and then we're gonna there are 2 types of formula options that you have over here: simple formula and advanced formula. We're gonna check the advanced formula, and we're gonna insert the field as ending mileage minus starting mileage, right? Ending mileage, insert operator minus, and insert another field which is the starting mileage, insert. Alright, and we'll check the syntax. There are no syntax errors, so we're gonna go ahead and click on next, and then we're gonna make everything default and click on next again, and then we're gonna make sure that the page layout name is added, and we're gonna click on save. Now when that is done, I want to click on the setup menu and click on setup over there. I want to click on the setup menu, and over here I'm going to click on app manager. I'm going to click on app manager and then new lightning app. So these are all the app details and branding part. So the app name, we're going to name the app as tracking system, and the developer name comes up on its own. For app branding, we can upload any image that we want. Now I have this computer screen thing. I'll open this, and by that you'll understand the difference between what actually happens. Now the primary color, I'm going to change this to purple, and yeah, we're going to click on next. Now when we have that, we have navigation style. We're going to leave this to standard navigation. We can also have console navigation. Let's just have standard navigation, and supported from factors, desktop and phone, both of them. Setup experience, setup or service setup, we're going to have setup. Click on next. Now we're going to add utility items. Utility items, basically Salesforce explains that as well over here. The utility items are these items that we have over here on the bottom bar of our window. We're going to add utility item, and we're going to have flow. If we want, we can add a flow. We can add history. So in the flow, we can name the label as flow only, and then we can actually change the width and height of that. For history, we can have history. The name is history. That is actually logged. And yeah, we're going to click on next. Now available item, these are the navigation items that we have. I'll show that to you when the app is created. So let's just have accounts. We'll have app launcher, banks, and assets. Okay, we're going to click on next, and the profiles we want them to be, so we're going to have all the profiles, and save and finish. Okay, so when you do that, your app is actually created. It was that easy. Now let me find my app over here. My app's name was tracking system. It's over here. There's no description, sadly, but the tracking system is over here. It was just created. It is available in Lightning. I can go ahead and I can edit the app as well, or I can delete the app. If I edit the app, I'll get the same settings. I can change them. Let me add the description as tracking system for my company. Okay, save this. Now when we go back, okay, so it's here, tracking system for my company. Okay, so that is done. It is on number 26. Okay, so when that is done, you have created your app. Let's run the app now. Let's click on this checkerboard kind of option, which is actually an app launcher. And we'll scroll down. So this is my app over here, which I named it as tracking system. Now the icon which is showing up over here is the icon that I uploaded when I was creating my app, right? Now I click on this app. Now notice the color. This particular color is customized. So when I click on our app launcher as well, for every tab, this color only comes up. Okay, so this is my app right now. I created the accounts tab and I have 2 accounts over here. Let's open this particular account. And we have all the information about this particular account, right? Now if I go back, I can open the second account and then again I have all the information. Okay, so you can also add leads to this particular app. You can add contacts. Anything can be added according to your wish, according to your need. Another thing is that icon is over here present. You can set this to your company logo or anything which would be, I think, better according to your company. So yeah, we created an app and here is the utility bar which we had chosen history to be the icon and flow to be icon as well, right? So you can create a new account, you can import an account, so anything, it is all customizable, I told you. So yeah, we created an app now. Let's go ahead and learn more about Salesforce. Let's now talk about the Salesforce tools for automation. The Salesforce tools for automation are workflow, process builder, and flows. We'll be talking about each one of these in the following slides. Let's talk about workflow rules first. Basically, workflow rules is an automation tool which is used by Salesforce administrators for automation, and that can be done without the help of developers. So before getting into actual hands-on on workflow rules, I would like to show you how workflow rules work. So whenever a record gets created or it is edited, there is a particular criteria which the administrator will set. If that criteria is met, then the actions would be performed. Else, the execution would be, else the record will get saved, but there would be no execution for that. So I'll get into a little more depth about this. Let's talk about these evaluation criteria that we have in workflow. So there are 3 evaluation criteria, that is created and every time it is edited, and the third is created and every time it's edited to subsequently meet the criteria. Let's talk about this via a condition. So in this condition, we have that if the salary of a particular employee is more than 7 lakhs, an email would be sent to the manager. So basically, if our condition is we have a record and we are creating a record, if the salary exceeds 7 lakhs, so and so criteria would be followed and the actions would be followed later. So let's talk about each of these criteria that we have with the same example. So first of all, if the condition is true, so if we are using the first evaluation criteria, that is created. So whenever a record will be created and the salary is more than 7 lakhs, an email would be sent to the manager. But if the record is edited and the salary goes up to 8 lakhs, then no email would be sent to the manager. Let me take another case. If I'm creating a record and the salary is, let's say, 5 lakhs, an email will not be sent to the manager. But if I edit that particular record and the salary, I change it to 7 lakhs. Still, an email will not be sent to the manager. And this is because I have used the first criteria. So basically, if I create a record and the salary is more than 7 lakhs, an email would be sent. But if I create a record and the salary is 5 lakhs and I edit that record later on and I've used the first criteria, salary goes up to 7 lakhs or 8 lakhs, an email will not be sent to the manager. So that is wrong, right? So every time I edit it and the condition is satisfied, that is the salary is above 7 lakhs, an email should be sent to the manager. So we have the second criteria, which is created and every time it is edited. So in the condition, if my salary is 7 lakhs and I create a record, if I'm using the second evaluation criteria, an email would be sent to the manager. But if my salary is 5 lakhs and my record is created, an email will not be sent. But if I'm editing that record and my salary is 7,50,000, an email will be sent to the manager. Right? I hope this is clear. Let me tell you this again. If the record is created, if the salary is less than 7 lakhs, an email will not be sent. But if I edit that record and make it up to 7,50,000, an email will be sent to the manager. But one disadvantage with the second evaluation criteria is that if I again edit that salary to, let's say, 6,50,000, then also the email will be sent to the manager. This is the disadvantage. But the disadvantage with the second evaluation criteria is that even if I change any record in that particular set of records, if I change a single record in that particular record, then also an email will be sent to the manager. For example, I'm simply editing a record, say the user ID. If I change the user ID and I have the second criteria selected, then also the manager will receive an email saying that that particular record has been changed. Okay, but this is not right. Why would the manager want to receive an email for changing the user ID? When we only want the user ID, when we only want an email to be sent only when the salary is more than 7 lakhs. I hope this is clear now. Let's now talk about the third evaluation criteria, which is created and every time it's edited to subsequently meet the criteria. So, if I create a record for 7 lakhs, an email would be sent to the manager. Now, if I'm creating a record with a salary less than 7 lakhs, an email will not be sent. And if I edit it to 7,50,000 or 7 lakhs itself, an email will be sent to the manager. But if I change or if I update any other field in that record, no email will be sent to the manager. So this is the difference between the second evaluation criteria and the third evaluation criteria. I hope this is clear now. We'll see this with an example now. But before that, I want to show you the types of actions which are in workflow rules. So the first one is immediate actions and the second one is time triggered actions. Now, so the evaluation criteria is met. Now what happens if the evaluation criteria will be met? Some action needs to be performed, right? So there are two types of actions, immediate actions and time triggered actions. In immediate actions, as soon as the evaluation criteria is met, the particular action will be executed, right? Immediately, as the name suggests. But in the time triggered actions, what will happen is you can set a particular time, say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or anything of your choice. So after a particular time limit, when the evaluation criteria is met, the time triggered action will be executed, or the particular action will be executed. Now there are a few actions which are associated with both of these immediate actions and the time triggered actions. Let's see what are these. The first one is an email alert. So as we saw in our example, when an evaluation criteria will be met, an email alert will be sent. Now it can be sent immediately or it can be sent after a particular time interval. Second one is field update. If we want to update the field, we can either select it to be immediate action or time triggered action. It will either be immediately updated or it will be updated after a particular time limit. Then we have a task. So we can also set the action for a particular task. We can edit that task. And again, if we have selected immediate actions, then immediately the task will be performed. Else, if we have selected time triggered actions, it will take some time, the required time, and then the task will be performed. And the last one is outbound message. Outbound message means that after a particular time interval, according to time triggered actions, a particular message will be sent. Otherwise, if it's immediate actions, immediately that particular message would be sent. So let's now do a quick hands-on workflow rules. But before that, I'll give you a little conclusion on what we learned about workflow rules. First of all, if the evaluation criteria is immediate, it's met and it's immediate action. So let me give you a conclusion about the workflow rules we just studied, so it would be easier for you to understand when we perform the hands-on. So if the evaluation criteria is met and we have chosen immediate actions or time triggered actions, then tasks can be performed, email alerts can be performed, field updates can be performed, and outbound messages can be sent. Right. So let's now create a workflow rule. So as you can see, I'm logged into my Salesforce account. I click on this gear button, which will take me to the setup menu, which I already have over here opened. So I'll just open this one. Now to create a workflow, we're going to use the same use case that I showed to you in the slides. Okay, so we'll just scroll down over here and you'll find this process automation button. I'll click on that. And when you scroll down, you will see workflow rules and we'll open that. When that is open, you will here see a list of workflow rules that have already been created. But we want to create a new workflow rule, so we'll click on new rule. And we want to select an object. Okay, so since the use case that we talked about or the example that we talked about was about the leads, and an email would be sent to that particular lead, then we'll select this as lead. Okay, the object name is lead. Then we'll click on next. Let's give the rule name as workflow demo. And here you have the evaluation criteria we talked about earlier. So there are three options: created, created and every time it's edited, created and any time it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. So I'll just select created and anytime it's edited to subsequently meet criteria. And here it says rule criteria is that run this criteria if the criteria are met. Okay, so I'll just select that. You have another option which says formula evaluates to true. When you do that, you have to enter a formula for the particular field. But I'll go ahead and select the criteria are met. In the field, I'll choose lead email, because I want an email to be sent to the manager. And then I have an operator which says greater or equal to, and the value would be 7 million. And then I'm going to say save and next. Okay, so our workflow rule is created, but now we need to add an action to it. So for that, I'm going to click on add workflow action. So you can see the first menu over here says immediate workflow actions, and the second one is time dependent workflow actions. Okay, so I'll just go ahead with immediate workflow actions first, and then we'll go and change this to time dependent workflow actions. Okay, so let's just add an immediate workflow action as email alert. When you click on that, you'll get this kind of a menu. So for that, the description we're going to put as more than 7 million. The unique name comes up on its own. And then the email template we have to search. Okay. So you can search the email template according to your wish, or you can directly create an email template for yourself. So I'll say this one. Support self-service, no comment notification. Sample email template that can be sent to your sales representative. Okay, I'll select that. Then we have recipient name. So I'm going to select this as account owner, and we shifted it to the selected recipients. And then, yeah, we're going to say save. Okay, I'll just change this name. Okay, now we have created a workflow rule with a particular action. Okay, so now we'll click on this checkerboard kind of icon we have over here. Go to our sales app and we'll find that particular object we created. Okay, the object I created right now was from leads, and I'll click on new lead because I'm creating a new lead, right? So for the name, I'm gonna give Mr. James, and the last name would be Charles. Okay, the company name, Intellipaat, and email. This email is the one wherein the mail would be sent. Okay, so I have a dummy email over here. I'll enter that. And when that is done, okay, so we have something called as lead status. I can select this to as open, not connected, working, contacted, open, not contacted, working, contacted, closed, converted, closed, not converted. I'll select this as open, but it's not contacted because this is the first time I'm creating a lead. This comes up as by default, but you can always change this from here as well. And from the next step, I'll show you can change this somewhere else as well. Okay, so you have all the other information that you can fill about this particular person. The lead source you can also fill: phone inquiry, industry, chemicals, or let's choose communication, annual revenue. I had 8 million over there, and the phone number can be set. The mobile. So you can basically add all the details, number of employees in that company, the address, additional information, description. Okay, and I'll just click on save. Now the lead for James Charles is created. Here you will see that this particular leads dashboard says open, not contacted. You can change this to working, contacted, closed, not converted, and converted. Now this is just an example of how it works. This is the activity. You can create a new task, you can log a call, you can create an event, you can send them an email which will directly send it to them. Then we have details, chatter, news. Alright, and then we can change this to working, contacted, closed, converted, and we can save this as mark status as complete. But then we can change that to the first one as well. So this is how workflow rules can easily convert your things. Now I'll show you the email which I received in this particular ID for James Charles. Okay, let's go to Gmail. Okay, so now you can see that I got 2 emails from Salesforce. Let's open the first one first. It says, welcome to the Gen Watt community. Dear James, all of us as Gen Watt are glad to have Intellipaat as a customer. I would like to introduce myself as your account manager. This is just an introduction email. And then the next email is the escalated case. The following case has been escalated to the escalated queue. And this happened because the value of that particular field, the annual revenue, was more than 7 million. Right. So I hope workflow rules was clear to you. Let's go ahead and learn about process builder now. So let's now talk about process builder. The process builder in Salesforce is also an automated tool. It's similar to workflow, but in a process builder that you will see in a hands-on that we'll perform is in a flowchart kind of a format. So let's see how it works. So process builder in Salesforce is an automated tool that will allow you to control the order of an action or evaluate the criteria for a record. It has several actions which are associated with it. Now, basically, like workflow, process builder also has some kind of set evaluation criteria. If that particular evaluation criteria is met, an action will be performed. It's similar to workflow, but it's in a flowchart format, which is a drag and drop kind of format, and it is easier for the users to use. Let's look at the actions which are present in process builder. First action is creating records. If you select this particular action, this will allow you to create a new record and create different field values for your record. You can also submit the record automatically for approval. When you have selected this particular action, the record which started your process can be submitted, and any other record can automatically be submitted as well. Then the third action which can be performed in a process builder is quick action. So if you already have global actions or objects in your Salesforce account, you can use quick action to use them in any other record. So if you have some action or objects which are already stored, you can directly give it to quick action and it will be automatically executed. The third one is invoking another process. In this, the action will actually invoke a process to another process. So if you have chosen this particular action in process builder, if one process is true, then another process will be invoked. This particular action will invoke another process from another process. Very simple. The next one is updating records. So when you have created the records and you want to update those records, you can do that as well in process builder. So basically you can update one or more records which are related to the record that started the process, and it can either be done manually or you can use the records from the related record as well. Another is that you can launch or trigger the flow, which means that it is possible for you to actually launch the flow from your process to automate different processes. Another one is that you can post on Chatter. A process builder allows you to post on Chatter and you can share any information to any user. And the last one is that you can call or trigger the Apex code. So you can invoke an Apex code that you have already written within Salesforce, and then that particular code can run. Alright, so these were the actions in Process Builder. We'll talk about how you can create a Process Builder in Salesforce now. So to create a Process Builder, you'll need to go to your Setup menu, and then you need to scroll down under the Platform Tools to Process Automation, where we found Workflow Rules. Okay, above that is Process Builder. Click on that. You'll be taken to all the processes that you have already created. And since we need to create a new process, we'll go back and click on New.
Alright guys, now let's take a look at a few quiz questions and try and test our understanding of the subject. In Salesforce, can multiple users have the same profile? The answer can either be true or false. So can we assign the same profile to multiple users in our Salesforce application? So take a few moments and try and figure out whether or not the answer is true or false. If it is true, or if it is false, take a look at the question, try and understand what the question is trying to ask.
Okay, so the process name we'll give as process demo, because this is a demo obviously. And then the API name comes up on its own, and the description I'm going to give it as okay. And then you have the process start when do you want the process to start. For that I'm going to choose a record changes. And then we're going to click on save. Okay, so this is your process builder canvas. And as you can see, here is a flow chart where you can actually fill the object, you can add criteria, actions, scheduled actions, and all of that good stuff. It's very easy to actually build a process builder as compared to a workflow, because you already have a flow chart, and you can understand how something works. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna add an object, because that is the first step. For the object, I'm gonna choose it as opportunity, and we're gonna make sure that the process starts when a record is created or edited, and we're gonna click on save. Then is the part where we need to add the criteria. So we'll click on this rhombus over here and click on criteria. For the criteria name, let's give this as amount is greater than 7 million. And the next radio buttons, you can look, they say criteria for executing actions, and we want that to be conditions are met instead of formulas evaluates to true. So if we choose formulas evaluates to true, we need to enter a formula over here. And then the third one says no criteria, just execute the action. So for that case, you don't need to enter any criteria, all the actions would be executed. Okay, so but we want it to look real, so that is why we're going to choose conditions are met. Then for the field option over here that you can see under the setting conditions, the field we're going to choose this as stage, and this is the selected field. We're going to click on choose. Then the operator should have equals operator, should be the equals operator. Then the type should be pick list. The value should be closed one, and then we're going to add a new row. Okay, and then here we're going to choose the same opportunity stage, and the operator is going to be greater than. Okay, so the field we're going to choose is, okay, so the field that we're going to choose is amount. We're going to scroll down, yeah, amount, and choose. Now the operator, we want it to be greater than or equal to, and the currency, the type would be currency, field reference, or formula. We're going to choose currency, and we're going to enter that as 7 million. Okay, now when that is done, we want to make sure that the conditions say all the conditions are met, that is and. Then we have another option which says any of the conditions are met or customize the logic. So we're going to choose the first one which says all the conditions are met and click on save. So in this step, we'll add our actions which we want to perform according to the criteria. And to do that, we'll click on immediate actions, add action. Now, since we need to create a record whenever a criteria is met, we'll select the action type as create a record, and the action name, it is basically a name that you want to give it. So we'll select this as, we'll enter this name as create order, and the record type is going to be order. And you can see a set of field values have come up. For a set of field values, in the first field, it's already there, order start date, and type, we want to set this as formula, and in that we're going to enter today. We're going to say use this formula, and then the second field says status, and the type says pick list. In the value, we're going to set this as draft. The next field says account ID. You can actually change that, but we actually want the account ID to be associated with it. And then the type says field reference, and the value would be opportunity account ID. Choose that and click on save. So now our actions are created and we need to add records to it. Okay, but before we do that, we want to activate this. Confirm. It is activated. We all processes, it's there. It says process demo, this one. Now what we want to do is we want to update a record, right? So we'll click on this app launcher over here. and we wanna click on sales and leads. We'll take the James Charles lead which we used in workflow rules. We'll click on that and then we'll say edit. Now you can edit anything that you want. Obviously your record will be edited or updated, right? And we're gonna say save. So this was our lead and we can associate this to our process build and we'll convert this. The account name is Intellipaat, or we can... Okay, so I hope you understand about Process Builder. Let's go ahead and talk about flows in Salesforce. The actions which are supported by Process Builder are creating a record. So you can create a record in a Process Builder, but it is not possible when you're using workflow. And standard and custom objects are available for creation in workflow. Whereas if we talk about the email alerts are possible in workflows and process builders both. The next is post to chatter. In process builder, we can actually post to chatter, but in workflow, we cannot post directly to chatter. If we talk about the quick actions are not available in workflow, but they are available in process builder. If you need to update records in workflow, that is a limited functionality. Also, standard and custom objects are available in workflow. But talking about process builder, we can update records in process builder as well. Let's now move on to our next automation tool, which is Lightning Flow. So, what is Flow? Flow is an incredible automation tool. So, like we learned about process builder, Flow is basically the engine making process builder work. Flow itself is a way in which you can do way more automation as an admin by just using drag and drop feature, for which you'd have had to hire a developer otherwise, right? So basically, Flow is a diagram which actually does stuff, to be in simpler terms. Let's see how we can use visual flow, but before that, let's talk about the visual flow. It's a way we can display visual screen for user. We can gather information and use it to automatically update the record in our org. The Lightning Flow product includes a couple of tools. One of them, Flow Builder, which lets you create flows basically. Okay, so there are two types of flows in Lightning Flow: auto-launched flow and screen flow. The auto-launched flow runs in the background with no UI interaction. It has no screen elements allowed, and it can be launched via Process Builder, Apex, and REST API. Whereas if we talk about screen flow, it is used when there is some need to interact with user on UI, and no wait element is allowed. And thirdly, it can be launched via quick action, custom button or link, direct URL, visual force page, lightning component, etc. Let's now start creating a Lightning Flow. So currently I'm logged into my Salesforce account. Under the Platforms tool, I will scroll down and find flows over here under Process Automation. And from here, I want to create a new flow. I'll click on New Flow and then I'll have this menu over here. Okay, so there are the options that you have over here. The flow types options: screen flow and auto launched flow. Let's select screen flow over here. It will show the screen to our user. The auto launched flow doesn't require any user interaction to start. Okay, so it can be launched from Apex class or Process Builder as an action. So we'll click on screen flow and click on create. So we have this toolbox over here. This is the button bar over here, and this is the canvas. This is called the canvas, and we have drag and drop feature in this particular toolbox. So you can drag some of these items, actually all of these items, onto our canvas and edit them. So first of all, let's drag screen. Okay, let's place it over here. Okay, so this menu will open up. Let's name the label as new user, and then the API will come on its own. Now over here we have screen components. In the search components, write text, this would come up. Click on it twice. We want 3 text boxes, so we'll have 3 text. Click on the first one. We'll name this as first name. The API will come up on its own. Click on the second one. We'll name it as last name. API comes up on its own. And then the last one would be phone number. So when that is done, we'll select footer, which is this one. We'll scroll down, click on control navigation, and we'll uncheck pause and previous from these two. Okay, so the reason we are doing this is that if we don't make the selection, the users will be able to navigate back to the first screen and multiple records can be created by doing so. Okay, so when we're done with that, so this is how it's gonna look: first name, last name, phone number, and then it will have finish option over here. We'll click on done. So our new user screen is created. Now we need to add records to the element and create the records, right? So we'll drag this over here, which is the create records icon, and we'll create the label as create user. The API name will come up on its own, and then in this particular option which says how to set the record fields, we're gonna select use separate variables, resources, and literal values. So it would be different for each record. Now if you scroll down, we're gonna choose object. In that we're gonna choose user, this one. Now we have a set of fields over here. We're gonna select, in the fields we're gonna select first name, and from here you're gonna scroll down, and in the screen components you'll see first name as text over here. Now we're gonna add another field, and we're gonna have last name. It's right there, and we're gonna enter the value as last name, and we're gonna add another field which will have our phone number saved, and the value would be phone number, this one. Now we're gonna move on to the next option. We have store user ID in variable. We'll click on variable and click on new resource. Now we need to create a new resource in order to combine these records. So in that option we'll select variable, and the API name would be user1 underscore ID, and then the data type would be text. It would be record. Okay, so we'll go down here where there's store user ID, and here we'll go to new resource. We'll select the resource as variable, and we'll name this as first, or we'll just name this as names underscore ID, and the data type would be text, and click on done. When we're done with that, we're gonna search for variables. We just selected names ID, we're gonna do that and click on done. This is how your record will look like, and you click on done. Next we have to create the screen for file uploads, right? So we'll click create another screen, and we just drag the screen. Now we'll write the label as resume, and then the API name comes up on its own. Here we're gonna search for file upload, click on that. So there are a few options over here. In the API name we'll put this as resume files. We'll have resume files over here. Then file upload label, we'll have upload related files. Then related record user would be names underscore ID. When that is done, for multiple files we're gonna select this one, $global constant.true, and we're gonna click on done. Okay, so the file component will let the user upload more than one file at a time to the created account. Okay, so now we'll connect these records or these components like this. We're gonna connect start with new user with create user with upload resume, and we're gonna save this as username, and the flow API comes up on its own, and in the description we'll give first name, last name, and we're gonna make sure that the type over here is screen flow, not auto launched flow. Okay, and we'll save this. You'll receive a warning like this. We'll talk about this later. So we'll just ignore that. Now what we'll do is we'll go back to setup, this menu over here, and look for flows. This one. And we just created this account. So we're going to click on username and we're going to activate it. Okay. So now we have created our flow. We can see it in our flows menu over here. Now one thing that we want to do is that we want our flow to be in the home page. So we're going to create a separate home page for our flow. So to create a home page, we're going to go to setup. This is the setup menu, right? We're going to find builder, find lightning app builder. We'll click on new. We'll click on home page. And next, we're going to name this as process, or we can name this as flow homepage. Next, and when that is done, we're going to click on clone Salesforce default page and we're going to click on finish. When that is done, you have the option to actually customize your flows and everything. You can change the position of different things like here. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to drag this over here, and your flow component will be viewed over here. You can change your recent records. You can change the events, like anything that you want. In the flow component, we're going to change this to username, and we're going to have 2 columns for that, and save. And we'll activate this. And assign as, okay, so we'll close and we'll save this. This is saved. We'll go back and we'll click on this checkerboard kind of option and we'll go to home. Okay, so this is the home that we created, right? We have, this is the home we created. Okay, so we'll activate this and assign as org default, flow homepage, and we'll save this. We'll save this. It is activated. Now we can go back here. Let's check. We'll go to home and this is created.
Just a quick info, guys. Intellipaat provides Salesforce online training mentored by industry experts. The course link is given in the description below. Now, let's continue with the session.
What is an application in Salesforce? So what is this Salesforce application? Now, Salesforce application is a collection of items that work together to serve a particular function, right? So what do I mean by that? So let's say if I have an application for sales itself, so what are the different things with that will impact my sales? So there would be opportunities, there will be customers, there will be accounts, there will be cases, there will be leads, there are a lot of different things, right? So basically an application is that environment where you can populate all of these fields, and based on that you can have different things popping up here and there, and you can find out what is going on with respect to one particular thing on one particular application itself. So that is the basic idea behind an application in Salesforce. Now it basically comes in 2 flavors for Salesforce. So it could be a classic app or it could be a lightning app. So there are lightning ones are the one we are going to be working with today. So lightning is the better form. It is constantly updated as well on your phone as well as your desktop system. So it is compatible in both iOS as well as Android as well as your desktop or any platform that you are using. So it is cross-platform available as well. So that is something which gives it an edge over classic, and it is much more intuitive as well in my opinion. So that is why the lightning app is much more preferred. To give you an example of how classic app looks like, so let me show you the Salesforce itself. So what you're seeing right now on your screen is an application. So this is my sales application. So whatever name pops up here, that is the name of the application, and this is the home page that we are seeing with respect to the sales application. Now there are different things like opportunities, leads, tasks. These are the different fields which are inside of this application that I want to see. So these are the things which are populated in here. So all of this combination of all of this is my sales application. Similarly, there are various other applications. As you can see, there is sales console, there is community. You can view all as well. So if you view all, there's a lot of different applications which are out there. So let's say if I wanted to check on the marketing side of things. So I can see different things will pop up as compared to this application. So you see now it has changed into campaigns, chatter, contacts, leads. So basically it changes based on that. Now what you can do is you can customize all of these applications, and you can have your built-in make a built-in custom application. So we had created a built-in custom application before itself, and we'll be creating one more today. So let's go back to presentation and move ahead and understand more. So that is about what an application is. So this is again just the overview of what things are. So you can see that is sales opportunities and whatever you are saying. So this is an home page where you can see different things with respect to quarterly performance, today's events, and all of that in one place. So what you are seeing here, it is a page. This is a home page which has been designed. This can be objects and pages. Both of those things can be populated on an application as well. So we'll be discussing that as we get through. Let's talk about few more basic concepts to get things across. So we are now going to get closer to building the Salesforce application that we are going to be developing in the third section. But in this one, let's discuss those concepts that we'll be dealing with. So let's start off with an objects and fields. Now, an object and field is very important. So in Salesforce, they follow the methodology of MVC, which is Model View Controller. So in that, you have three different kinds of things which are in there. So basically, you can think of objects and fields in terms of an Excel sheet. Now, what is going on is, let me explain what is going on first. So imagine that you have a database, right? So your database can have a lot of different kinds of tables, right? So there will be a lot of different tables which are there. For example, let's say if I wanted to create let's say school database, for example. So a school database will have a table for students. There will be there will be a table for courses. There will be a table for teachers. There will be the table for other faculty members, parents, and stuff like that, right? So collection of all of these tables which are out there is what basically my database is. Now let's think that each of these tables are my Excel sheet. So I have an Excel sheet where I have a list of students. I have an Excel sheet where I have a list of the parents and different other attributes like that. So right, so these are the things which are there. So a collection of all of these Excel sheets is my database. Now each sheet in this database represents something, right? So let's say if one of the sheets is named as student. Now in this students sheet which is out there, so you can imagine this sheet which is on the bottom side of the screen right now. This is the student sheet. So in this student sheet, what is going on is let's just think of it like this. So each of the columns which are out there, so the things which are highlighted in pink, this is called as fields. Now fields are basically the properties of the particular sheet. So my sheet is called as students. Now students can have a name, a registration ID, a phone number, parent's name, and different things like that you can populate. So each of these things which will be populated in the field section will be the different properties with respect to this sheet, right? So this sheet is basically called as an object inside of Salesforce. So this sheet, which is my student, is an object, and the different properties of students are the fields in Salesforce. So these student's name is one field, student's phone number is a field, email address is the field, and things as we go along will follow. And every entry that you do, so let's say if the student's name is let's say Ram, his number is XYZ, and he studies in class X, and you can move along. So that is one entry. So this is a record of a student. Similarly, if you go along, so you can put in more records. So each of these lines will contain records. So this column represents different properties, and the rows will represent different records of different students who have those particular properties in those fields, and all of it together, this particular sheet can be thought of as an object. So an object has a lot of different properties which are called as fields, and when you have a lot of different entries inside of a different object, those are called as records. So that is the basic idea of what are objects and fields in Salesforce. Now you can have two different kinds of objects in Salesforce. There are some objects which Salesforce gives you by default. So by default, Salesforce provides you with a lot of different objects which are out there. So a good example would be like an account or leads. So the things that we saw earlier. So that are the things which are pre-created. So you can see the opportunities here and the leads and the other things. These are the things which are pre-created by Salesforce. So these objects are standard objects. The other kind of objects are custom objects. These are the objects that you build by yourself. So you can build your own custom objects. So as you can see, if I wanted to create, let's say, an object called as trucks. So I can create an object called trucks, and I can have information with respect to trucks in there. So it basically depends on you. So what Salesforce is doing is, in this scenario, is it is giving you one set of abilities to you, which is predefined, which can be basically applied to various different kinds of companies. But let's say if I'm a logistics company and I want to use Salesforce, and there are some things which are not defined in Salesforce because they cannot think of everything, right? Every business runs it according to their requirements and based on their needs. When you are running things on your needs, you will be requiring custom made things. For that scenario, Salesforce allows you to do a lot of different customization with respect to their application as well. So you can basically create your own objects, give them special properties, and you can assign values to those special properties. So that is what a custom object is. We will be building a custom object in today's session as well, and we'll be putting that to our particular application, which we will be also be developing. The next concept, which is very important, is a lightning page. So what is a lightning page? Lightning page is basically a custom layout that lets you design a page for use in Salesforce mobile app, or it could be on the lightning or web browser experience as well. So it is available on both mobile platform as well as your particular desktop application, right? So the structure of lightning page, the speciality of this thing is that it adapts to whatever the screen that it is being viewed on. So if I want to, this we will see when we get into it. So if you want to design a, let's say, a page, how it will spawn on your mobile phone and how it will spawn on your particular laptop is different, right? So, and Salesforce predefines it in based on some templates on how those things can be spawning. So you can design based on that, and based on that you can have easy views for your phone and a different view for your particular desktop application. So you can imagine your desktop has a wider screen and wider set of resources, so it can do a lot of different things and populate different things in there. When you're designing for a phone, you have to take constraints into account, where the screen will be shorter. What you would want is the things which are most important popping up here and there. And Salesforce allows you to do all of that. So based on the template that you choose, you can basically get the outcome of how the page will look like, right? So we will be creating an app page for our particular application. So there are three different kinds of pages in Salesforce as well. So when you're talking about lightning pages in applications, you can have a home page, a record page, and an application page. Now, home page is what we saw, that sales home page was there, right? So that everything with respect to the sales application you can find out in the home page. Other than that, you can have an application page where you can spawn different things with respect to an application. You can use this page to create a home page for a third-party application, and you can directly add those things into your Salesforce, the Lightning web application, as well as your mobile application. Both of these things you can directly add these pages without having any ifs and buts. Other than that, you can decide who gets to view what kind of pages and what kind of access is there, and where you can they can access these objects. You can handle that as well. So that is about what is in the app page. We will be developing an app page and an object, and we'll be putting both of them to our Lightning application in the demo. So let's quickly jump into the demo so that we get things more clearer. So this is my Salesforce application, right? So in this Salesforce application, what you can see is this is my home page, right? So from here you can go to setup. So this is my Salesforce Lightning application, which is for marketing, and this one is my setup where I can basically customize my Salesforce Lightning applications. So whatever is in here, whatever you want to manipulate, you can do through the setup page, and it allows you to do different things. And you can find the setup right here itself. You can just go here, click, and quick click on setup, and it will spawn the page that you actually need. So let it load so that you can get a view of it. So let's start creating an application first, or we can create an object also first. So let's create an object first. So let's create an object. Very simple. You have to click on new object, go to your object manager, click on new object, wait for a couple of seconds, and you have to put these information. So let's say I'm going to call my object as learner Intelli, right? So you have to give the label, and the plural label you have to provide. Object name it takes automatically. So if I click here, you can see the object name has automatically spawns. Learners Intelli is the plural name. Now basically this object gives information for a learner enrolled with Intellipaat, right? So it does that. Now you can have it being a context sensitive help settings. You can put that as well. You have a record name, and this is the type text it will be taking. Optional features, you can allow reporting activities, track field history, chatter groups. You can decide on these things as well. So if you wanted to pop up in chatter groups, or you want to track field history, you can enable these features based on your requirements. And You can choose your deployment status as well. So you can have it in development. So these things which are in development won't spawn into the Salesforce application. People won't be able to view it. Once you have deployed it, the people who have the access to these things can actually view it. You can also allow search for it. You can have a launch custom tab app after the wizards for saving the object. We are not going to be doing this. We will do it later on so that you understand why this is important. And I'm going to be allowing the search for it and just gonna hit save. So with that, I think very easily we can move on to the next step, and we have created an object. Now object is ready, right? So object is ready. What it doesn't have is any properties. So it's like basically having a sheet called as students, and there is no kind of entry whatsoever, no properties whatsoever. So there is no information with respect to the students. So let's go to field and relationships, and let's give it a property. So by default, it will be asking you for a name when you create this thing. So we're going to be creating a new field, which is going to be, from this section you can choose what kind of information this object will store, right? So every column which is there, it stores certain kind of an information. So what kind of information you want to store, you can decide there. It has to be a date, number, currency, percentage, phone number, pick list. Pick list is basically when you want to give them options to choose from. You can have that, and you can have multi-select as well. You can have a text area. You can have basically different things based on that. So I'm going to be selecting a text that people can put in the resource things. So I'm going to be going next, and the field name is course enrolled. So my learner object will have a name, so learner's name, and the course field, let's allow number of characters for this field. So I'm going to be putting it as 17. So it could be according to your requirements. So if you are someone who's taking long strings into account, so you can put those numbers up, but we are going to be keeping short, so we're going to be putting it 17. So this field stores the course learner is enrolled in. You can provide help text to people to understand so what is supposed to be filled in with respect to this field. We're going to not be doing that because we know what we're doing too. And you can select this as always required. So when you do that, whenever you are creating a new record for this particular field, if let's say if I'm creating a new entry for the object, so if I'm creating, let's say, a new student, and I keep this as required, so the entire column won't be saved until and unless you provide this information, right? So this is what required does. And you can have it as unique also. You basically unique will take only one kind of information. You cannot have duplicates, but since course enrolled can be duplicates, we're going to be leaving this one. You can keep an external ID, and you can give a default value as well, so we're not going to be bothering with that. And in this one you can basically assign this is the field security level. So whenever, let's say if I have an object called as customers, now customers can have information which are sensitive, like phone numbers or bank account IDs or anything like that. So that is not what you want to share with everyone, right? So when you want to hide some kind of information, you have to assign who are the people who are able to view these things. Now I don't want to make changes anywhere because nobody else is using it apart from me. But whenever you are in an industry environment, you'll have to choose who are the people who are allowed to see these things, and based on that you have to select. For now, we're going to be keeping it as default so that everyone can see these things, because course name is not that sensitive of an information. Now, the learner Intelli layout has been done. So let's quickly, course enrolled for learner Intelli has been done. So learner Intelli is our object. So we've created one field. We're going to be creating one more field, and I'm going to take this time the number as the field. Let's move forward, and the field name we're going to be writing it as batch ID. So for the learners, what we are trying to take the information is the course that they are enrolled in and the batch of that batch ID of that course. So you can have the length defined as well. So you're going to be keeping it default, which is 18th, and you can set this to always require as well. So we will not be taking any different things with respect to that. So that is very important. You can define the decimal places that it will be taking. So all of this information with respect to what the field information can take, so you can customize that based on your requirements. Click next. Again, the same thing, the security field is spawning, so we're going to be keeping it default, pretty standard. And with that, I think our object is ready.
Which of the following is not a type of sandboxes available in Salesforce? So as we all know, the Salesforce comes with different kinds of sandboxes. Which of the following is not a kind of a sandbox that is available in Salesforce? Is it A, developer, B, manager, C, partial copy, or D, full? Take a moment take a look at the question and think about what the answer should be.
Yeah. So if you want to check out your object, you can quickly go to the object manager, and it spawns all of the different apps, and you can see what are the different objects which are out there. So you can see this, these are the standard objects which are predefined by Salesforce. And whenever you find the learner Intelli, that is learner Intelli is a custom object, right? So it tells you what are the information. So we have just created a custom object which is called as learner Intelli. Now our custom object is ready. The next thing that we need to do is we need to create an application first, and then we'll add an app page. So let's create an application. To create an application in Salesforce, you have to search App Manager. So in App Manager, just quickly go here and select for a new Lightning app. So you can see in here the pre-created applications and their type. As I told you, it comes in two flavors. So if it is Lightning or it is in Classic, you can see these things which are available. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a new application. My application will be called, let's say we'll call it as learner view. We're going to be calling this application as learner view, and this application is for insights WRT learner. So with respect to learner, what are the things that is required? We're going to be populating this. In this section, you have to also put in an app branding. Basically, in app branding, you can design what kind of image that it requires and what is the different things that can come. So you can have different images based on that. I'm going to be uploading something which I have on my desktop saved, which is a home page, which is basically a very simple image. So this is the image that is there for my app branding. You can see the graphs and plots which I've created. And primary hex value is something, as you can see in the background, you can see, if you can see here on the left hand side, you can see this blue line. This is what is there. So you can see everywhere it is blue. So this is the primary color that you have to choose for your application. I'm going to be going with green, and you can choose what shade of green also. Based on that, it will take the RGB hex value. So I'm going for a pretty green in here and do done, and then click next. Now the next thing which is there is you have to choose the navigation style. So since we are going with the standard navigation here, not the console, because console is sometimes paid, we are going for the standard navigation, and you can support the form factor. So basically, if this application will be supported only on desktop, only on phone, or both desktop and phone, for our purposes we are using both desktop and phone in here, and that is that. And you can have these settings also set up, and my setup experience, I want it to be full setup and it is not a service. So that is that, and let's quickly move on to the next one. Next is the utility items. So utility items are the things which spawn on the bottom left hand side of the screen. So we'll see that once we create this application. So you can add different kinds of utility applications. So we're going to be adding a rich text so that we see what is out there. So let's select one. So you can basically type out what you want in this one. So I'm going to be putting in welcome to the Intellipaat learner application, right? So we can have that, and you can add more. So we have added one, we'll add another utility item just in case. So you can have a macro, or you can have a flow. Flow is basically how your screen flow will be happening, or different things, that set of applications will be happening. You can have that. You can have a list view, you can have something. So we're going to be putting in recent items as well. So two things which are out there, and rich text and the recent items. These are the two things that I want in my application. So let's quickly move on to the next. Now in the navigation items, so what we saw here, so this is an application right here, right? So on the left hand side. So in what navigation means is whatever you are seeing in here is selected through the navigation. You can basically come back and edit these as well. And for now, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to take a default thing so that it gets more clearer to us. So let's take opportunities, if it is out there. Yeah, let's take opportunities and just put it in there, just for fun purposes. We basically do not need it right now. So we're going to be spawning only one thing, and we're going to click next. And now this is an important one. You have to select who are the people who can view this application. Not everyone will be able to view this application. Since I'm the system administrator, I'm going to be giving myself only the privileges of viewing this application and no one else. So I'm going to be putting in here so that I can see this application. I'm going to put save and finish. As soon as I do that, my application is ready, and you can find that application as the name which we had learner view, the application. So it is right here, which has been created, right? So to check if learner view is created, let's quickly go to here. This is the place where you search for application, these dots in here. Just quickly search for learner So you can see my image which I created for the branding as well is present. So quickly go to the learner view and see what is out there. So you can see the green which I chose for the hex value is here. This is the name of the application. This is the only navigation that we spawned. So you can see the recently viewed opportunities which are out there, and the utility items that we selected, which is the recent items, which is in here, which has been nothing so far. And then there is a rich text. So welcome to the Intellipaat learner application. So you can have that, implement more things like those. So these are the utility things. So we have basically created an application with one thing. Now let's customize this application a little bit more by adding a page and the object that we created, right? So we created an object. So if you remember, if we go to app manager again and we try to edit this particular learner view, you can see there is this one thing missing, which is the object that we created. The object which we created, which goes by the name I think learner Intelli, that will not be available in the navigation items. That is because we have not created a custom tab for it. Right? Let me search learner. You can see this is not available right now. That is simply because we have so far not created basically and custom tab for it. So there's no tab view for it, and that is why that is not spawning. So let's quickly do that as well. So I'm going to be doing that side by side so you can see what is going on. So let's quickly search for tabs in here in quick find. Let's quickly search for tabs. Now go to tabs. In tabs, basically you have to go down and you have to create a new one. So you have to create a new custom tab. So just click on the new one. So here you have to select the object that you want to create a tab for. So our object's name is learner Intelli. You can select the tab style. So there's a lot of different things that you can choose from. That will basically be the thing which is in front of that tab style. So since this is about learners, we're choosing people in here, and you can have custom tabs. So learners information, right? So that is there. So let's quickly click next, and these are again those security things. So you can add the profiles who are going to be able to see it, but we are keeping the default settings so that we can get through with this. And again, which all applications you want to add it to. So you can see by default it is added to learner view. So if we see now to learner view, only opportunities is there, right? Now let's quickly save this. So what it will do is it will add it to all of the pages which are out there. You can basically, when you are doing this, select the custom pages you want to add it to, but for now it's just going to be saving it. So once we do that and it is ready, my learners, this thing, if I refresh, the learner view should pop up in navigation. So let's go to the navigation items, and you can see the learner Intelli has been spawned. So since it is spawned, if I refresh this page, I should see another tab in here. You can see the learners Intelli tab is available, and you can create an object in here. Go to new, and you can add let's say learner's name is Ram, the course he's enrolled in is Salesforce, and batch ID is 1234. If I save that, you can see details of that learner you can see in here. So basically if I add more and more, I can have all the learners which are spawning and put them in here really quickly and very easily. So that is the basic thing of the objects that we have created. Now let's add one more thing to it. Let's add an application page to this one. So let's go back to the setup real quickly and go to and search for app builder. So if you go to Lightning app builder, it's basically we need to create a new page. So let's click on new. So as I mentioned in the theoretical side of things, you can create 3 different kinds of pages. For now, for my purpose, I'm going to be creating an app page. So let's quickly select that, move on to the next one. You have to select a label's name. So this is learners app page. I think it goes with an underscore. It looks better. Yeah. Now what you can select in the next one is the view. So as I told you, the Salesforce Lightning applications, it spawns and adapts both for your PC as well as your mobile phones of different sizes and tablets of different sizes. So you can see if the tablet is in this section, it will look 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 like this. If it is straight, 1, 2, 3 on the phone, and 1, 2, 3. You can choose different settings based on this. The applications will be spawning. So different views that you can get from here. So I'm going to be choosing standard one again. One header, a left sidebar, or I'll go with header in 2 regions. Let's quickly divide it easily. So header in 2 regions we're going to be selecting. We're going to click on next. Now I have a basically a layout where we can add applications. So it doesn't mean we can only add 3 components. We can add more than 3 components, but just thing is you can add it in here or here. The way that they'll be spawning is based on the layout that you have selected. So let's quickly put a rich text on top. This is learners page. So there's a learners page that we are creating. So that is that. We can have basically anything that you want in here. We can populate let's say recent items in here on the left hand side, reports and charts on the right hand side, and you can have, let's say if you wanted to have a chatter field, you can put it in here on the left hand side. So you can spawn more than one items. You can customize these things as well. So whatever is be spawning here, you can add a filter, you can add field types so for what it has to be done, and you can create what you want report for. So you can select different kinds of reports in here, you can populate all of that, and you can add and filter based on that. So whatever is based on your filter, you can view those things only particularly in this particular page. So that is the basic idea behind these things as well. So you can add a filter for this as well. We're not going to be doing that, we're just going ahead with this one. So you can activate this page, or you can choose not to activate this page as well. So I'm going to be activating this page. So if this is in development environment, you would not want to activate it right away, you'd want to wait, but since we are not concerned with that one right now, we're going to be activating this page. So it will going to be asking a few questions. So page settings, lightning experience, and mobile app navigation, 3 different things. So you can add different page setups that you want. I just want it to be activated for all my users, and these things have been done. So I'm going to be quickly saving it with default configurations. Until you add it, it won't be spawning anywhere, right? So that is what this page is saying. So what it basically means is I have created, so like I did for objects and it was spawning, it will not happen for this one because it is not there in the navigation items yet. So for that, what we have to do is we have to go back to our setup, search for our app manager again, and in my app manager I have to be searching for the learner view application which we created. Click edit, and then go to navigation items, and in here the page that we created, which was our learners application page, which is right here, I'm going to be selecting that and putting it in here. Sorry. So with that, if I hit save and I refresh this page, I should be able to see my new page which is out there. So the page, as you can see, objects will have a drop down menu like this. So you can see all the learners or all the opportunities which are out there, and in page you can see different things that you put with respect to what is there. So the recent item is 0, chatter field, we have not populated these things. That's why these things are not being done. So if you do all of that, you'd be able to see these things, and these things will be generated automatically based on that. So that is what basically you can do in order to build an application in Salesforce.
Now further, let us move on to the core objective of this session. So I'll tell you about who is a Salesforce administrator and its related details along with the certification details. So starting off with the definition of Salesforce administrator. So Salesforce administrators are actually the gatekeepers of their employers' sales and marketing data. So a Salesforce administrator not only manages employers' sales and marketing data, but it also handles new users and all the employees and the customers of the organization. Suppose if a new employee arrives in the company, so it is the task of Salesforce administrator to create a new user profile, and after that assign that employee or assign the profile to the user, which is actually employee. Then also monitor access level for that employee or the user, then import new leads and contacts, then run duplication rules, then check for updates from salesforce.com and manage users, customers and employees. So these are the tasks of the administrator who is working for the organization that is employing or that is using Salesforce for its business purposes. So a Salesforce administrators helps those businesses or organizations